Friends, did you know that over 60% of your first-time clients are never coming back to your business again? They are going to your competition. That is so painful, and it doesn't have to be that way. That's where Maya comes in. Maya is the ultimate marketing software for the beauty and wellness industry. We have a proprietary funnel utilizing special algorithms to help connect the right consumers with the right providers at your business. So what does this mean? This means Maya helps you get higher spending clients you love to work with who stay the long haul. If you want to increase your revenue, increase your client count, increase your average ticket, and increase your new client retention, then you need Maya. Go to the link in our show notes to get your demo of Maya set up. Or go to joinmaya, that's MYA.com, joinmaya.com, and see why over 500,000 consumers have trusted Maya and the businesses that we work with to find their perfect beauty and wellness pro. We have your back, we always will, and we promise you will love Maya. Thank you for joining me. This is Katie Whitledge with the Beyond the Technique podcast. We are talking about true profits. Start with this. And who better to speak on that than the founder himself of True Profit Salons? We have Ross Loveland here today. He started True Profit Salons on the belief that beauty businesses provide a tremendous amount of good to our communities, but that unfortunately far too many beauty business owners are struggling and aren't getting the rewards they deserve for the good that they do. He's made it his mission to help salon owners have a profit and then increase their profit. And he is here today. And by the way, let me just share, I am really close to a lot of the High Performance Salon Academy members. Of course, Maya is a sponsor of HPSA, and Ross's company is the most used accounting and bookkeeping and taxing company of the whole group. So the street cred is there, my friends. You're in good hands today. Let me welcome Ross Loveland. Welcome to Beyond the Technique.
Thanks so much, Katie. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. And we've been talking behind the scenes about how you're kind of familiar with where I'm at. I'm out of Madison, Wisconsin. It sounds like you have a little experience of being in Madison.
Yeah, absolutely. So right out of college, I went to Madison, Wisconsin. I worked for a big company there. I worked for Epic.
Yes.
You've heard of Epic in Madison, Wisconsin. And I actually started this company while I was working there. I started this on the side for about a year, so I can say my roots are also in Madison, Wisconsin.
Very, very cool. Well, there is no better place, in my opinion, except for January, February, March, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's a long winter.
We're in the thick of it right now. But you have this mission of helping salon owners. I think it'd be interesting to hear because you have a totally different background than beauty industry. You didn't start in the beauty industry and then go into the financial side. You're coming from a financial perspective. Tell us a bit about your background and then what landed you in the beauty industry.
Yeah. And I would say even more than finance, I've always come from a business background. Like it's all of business that fascinates me and loves me, or that I love about it. And so, like even in high school, I was kind of a strange kid, and I would read business books. My brother and I would do this together, and we would talk about different ideas and different companies that we wanted to start. And we were somewhat normal kids, like we did some sports and stuff, but then we also loved this side of creation, of leadership, of business, of marketing, like so many different aspects that, I think come into business and make a difference in our communities, in our economy. And so I went into my, excuse me, I went into my education into university with the desire to study business. And I picked finance because I felt like it was the best foundation. like I love all of it. I love the organizational behavior. I love the marketing. But finance, if I can understand that, then I feel like it gives me the, the tool set to handle everything else. And then I can bring in other experts. I can, grow those other skills as I go. So that's what has been like my foundation and feels so true today. And even as little teaser for what we'll probably talk more about later, we have different pillars that we believe in for salon success, 5 pillars of salon success. And the very first one is financial clarity. When we have that piece, then everything else can be built on top of that. So then how did I get into the beauty industry? That is an excellent question. I truly feel like I was just blessed to have this come about because it was never an intentional thing that happened. It was never a plan. Starting from the beginning, when I created this business in Madison, Wisconsin, I was working with all sorts of businesses. We had an airplane parts company and a landscaper and a chiropractor and just every different kind of business you can imagine, actors, just all over the place. But I was really fortunate to also get to work with a few salons. And the experience that I had with those salons was incredible. What I have found in salon owners, which I just think is so inspiring to me, is that as a group, they tend to be really driven. They know what their goals are. They also recognize that they don't have all of the skills or knowledge. Like, and this is true in this industry, we're not taught a lot about business management. So these salon owners came to me, they were hungry, they were ready to learn. They applied the things that I taught them. They implemented them. They got amazing results. So they became some of our most successful, some of our most profitable clients. And so then they started to refer other salons. And then I worked with them and they became successful and they referred to other salons. And so at some point I was just like, these are our best clients. Like they're the most fun to work with. They're accomplishing amazing things. They see the value. Why aren't we doing more of this? And so that's how it came about for us.
I love that so much. I think it's a really cool story. And I'm sitting over here, like most listeners right now, fiending to know the other pillars of success that you brought up to salon success. And we'll get into that. What I want everybody listening to know is that stay to the end because Ross has a very special gift to give everybody listening today. Um, when we say, Ross, that true profits start with this, would you say that the financial clarity is that pillar and that foundation to the answer to that? True profits start with this. How would you answer that?
100%. Because if we don't know where we're at, we can't be managing it. We can't be improving it. We can't be diverting our money into the areas that are serving us and benefiting us. So, and again, we want that to be those things that are, it's one of the reasons we have the name True Profit Salons, is we don't want it to be a number on a report or a number on a tax return. True profit should be what's serving you in your lifestyle. It should be the amount of money that you're taking home. It should be what you're able to provide to your team. And so that is so important, but we can't do any of those things if we don't know where we're at.
Yeah. When you start working with a salon, what are you finding is the most common struggle or gosh, this is usually where salons are at when we start working with them. What is it that you find?
I would say it falls into two broad categories. So one would be on the pricing side. Their pricing, and this can even be a blend of their pricing, but then also their commissions, because we're talking about kind of that gross profit, the amount of money the salon's making on a service, that can be really off. And that's something that I see all the time. We really want to make sure that we're addressing, because if from the very beginning, we're bringing in a certain amount of money on a service and 65%, especially when you add in payroll taxes, you add in benefits, 70% is going to that team member, like we're already losing the game.
Yeah.
So we've got to be really, really careful about that. And we 100% can build a salon that is successful, that is profitable, and provides amazing careers for our team members. I think that is incredible and should be a valid goal that you have. You share, I think this is on the Maya website, Katie, that you feel one of your purposes is to offer the best career path possible for those choosing the beloved beauty industry.
Mm.
I think that's amazing. But we have to make sure the salon's taken care of as well. Otherwise, we're going to go out of business and their career's gone. Then the other thing is when we are blind to what's happening in our salon and what's happening with our cash, we might be really great at bringing in money and really bad at keeping that money. So we really need to be mindful of how we're spending it. And that could be anything from our rent or our marketing. Like if we're not spending our marketing wisely, then it can be a big waste of money. Maya is a great example of how we can use money in marketing that is very powerful and a great investment. But if we're doing it in wrong ways, then it doesn't serve us. And so there's a lot of areas like that inside of our business where if we're not watching them, the subscriptions we're not using, whatever it might be, it can add up really fast.
Already, what I'm so fired up about is that you're talking like you're the CFO of these companies for them and with them. And I don't know accountants who do that. Most people look at the past. Oh, here's what you spent money on. We're putting it in this category. Oh, by the way, here's a look at what you've done already. I don't see a lot of forecasting happening. And I don't see anybody coming alongside and actually consulting and giving advice. So already, I think that's a complete standout of something that you're doing completely different than anybody else. What are some of the changes that you typically make right away? It sounds like possibly restructuring the way pricing and commissions are done. Um, and if we are tending to probably unintentionally mismanage our money, what are those like three things or a couple things like, hey, I usually see mismanagement in these areas and we fix it quickly. And these are the things that we do to help fix it. I'd love to hear about that.
First, I just take that as the greatest compliment that you call us CFOs. I mean, that's truly a language that we use as well. That is the level that we want to be working with the salons in our community. We want to be a financial partner with those that we work with, not someone who just throws reports at you and says, see you next month, and not someone who's only doing the compliance work and not providing any extra value. So that is 100% how we've built our company. There are a few things, and some of it is what you've already spoken to. One of the early things that we'll do is we actually, teasers, part of the offer that we'll talk about later. We often, almost always, actually, I should say, with our clients, start with what we call a financial clarity assessment. And part of what we do within this assessment is we benchmark you against the industry, and it really shows where you're doing well, where you're not doing well, what your opportunities are for improvement. And so that immediately gives you the areas that you can deep dive into and explore more about and figure out, like, hopefully find some low-hanging fruit, find some opportunities to be more successful. I would say another thing that can't be overstated is the value of profit first. So I don't know if you are very familiar with profit first. It's talked about very often on this podcast, but we're a profit first certified firm. I use the profit first framework in my own businesses, in my own salon, and in this True Profit Salons company. And very simply, what we're doing with the profit first system is we're taking control of our money. We're giving our dollars a purpose as soon as it comes in. And we're going to make sure that our business is doing things like planning for taxes and paying us as the owner. How often do we consistently pay ourselves as an owner? Are we putting ourselves last too often? And different things like that. So that's a very powerful system that I absolutely love and think is very effective in this industry.
Well, I think that's brilliant. I had no idea the Profit First certification. I think that's huge. And I like that that's your kind of personal mindset on how you run your business and then you help salons run theirs. For the salon owner listening, what is it that they may not realize they should be asking their accountant, bookkeeper that has maybe never been brought up? What is it that they often aren't asking that they should be.
I think something really simple that you can start by asking, and this is also going to be a great indication of the quality of the bookkeeper or accountant that you're working with. Just ask them to meet with you. Ask them to walk you through your profit and loss and your balance sheet. If they can, one, set up the time with you and do that with you and have it prepared, and then explain it in a way that makes sense to you, you're going to get tremendous value out of it. You're going to start to see some things. If you start to do that on a regular basis, you'll see trends. You'll notice the things that are happening. Often you'll see that your bookkeeper accountant does not do very well at that. I would say that is unfortunately the more common outcome in the accounting industry. So my own industry of accounting and finance absolutely has its struggles. Communication and again, the advisory side is not one of its strengths. But there are good ones out there. So you can test them and ask for that, and it will be really valuable.
What I find interesting in my own experience are there are definitely nuances for salon businesses. What are some of those nuances that, hey, the typical CPA firm is not going to know or really understand? And I'll give you one
Mhm.
example is potentially how the cost of goods works. It's like basic, but it's different for salons in the back bar versus retail. So talk to me a little bit about some of those nuances that if you're an owner working already with a CPA firm, they may not be getting this right.
Yeah, I mean, so you hit it already with the direct costs, and on the product side, that's totally true for them to understand your back bar and your cost of products sold and how to handle those different pieces, color versus retail versus again back bar.
Mhm.
But even on the direct cost in terms of employees and how you pay your team and commission and hourly and bonuses and all of that can be weird for them and they don't understand it, or things that are really common and really standard inside the industry are just not well known outside of it. But then there are other things like handling tips. Um, that would be a really, really big one. Inventory management, again, going back to that's the other end of the cost of goods sold. Are they able to track and manage the inventory counts with you, helping you to figure out the processes that are right and using your Salon software to update that and stay on top of that? I almost never see that done correctly when I start working with the salon.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, so many people need to start a conversation with you. Because yeah, I think that here's the crazy thing is owners are paying a lot for CPA companies to work with them, but they're not necessarily getting the value out. I want to dive a little bit more into the profit specific topic because I've heard, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that the average salon is just making 3% profit, or maybe that's the top line. I mean, what are you seeing? And do you have any success stories to share of like, hey, a salon started with this profit and now they have this? What does that typically look like in your
Mhm.
experience?
Yeah, that's true. Even the 3% profit margin on average, I wonder about because when we look at the success rates of salons in this industry, I mean, one study I looked at recently showed that 95% of salons fail within 7 years. That's just an astounding figure.
Astounding 95.
95. So, what do we need to be doing and what are the opportunities and what are the possibilities? Absolutely. So, we are fortunate to work with so many salon owners that really put in the work and implement the things that we teach them. So, we have so many wonderful stories. One that comes to mind for me is a salon owner who had a two-part goal. One was to get out from behind the chair, and two was to become more profitable and to be more rewarded from her business. And she was smaller when she started out. I mean, we're talking just probably around $250,000, $300,000 salon. Uh, she implemented profit first. She started working with us. And when did she start working with us? I think we're coming up on, has it really been? I think it might be 4 years now. It's wild. Love it. Her revenue and her profit has grown every single year. She's now fully out from behind the chair. Her profit started out around, it actually was pretty close to that. It was 2 or 3%. And now she's around 20%.
Wow.
And that's possible in this industry. Sometimes we think that it's not. It's possible to have 20. It's possible to even get higher. Your mix of services comes into play here. Extensions versus color versus cuts, that type of thing. But you can be very profitable in the beauty industry as you get intentional about it. And so we have other salons that are doing amazing things. Like one came to me and they had over $100,000 in credit card debt. And they were just like a little bit of a bigger salon in the sense that that didn't immediately drown them. This was about $1 million business at the time. It's much bigger now. The day that they paid off that last credit card was amazing. It was like the efforts they put in, they also used profit first. They worked with us. You can take control of your business again. You can get it to serve you and reward you, and you can achieve incredible things.
Wow, those are huge accomplishments for those salons, and thankfully they had you there to help guide them.
Oh, and it's such a pleasure. Again, working in this industry is the best. Like I can so easily point to that as such a defining moment in this company of when we decided to go all in on salons and beauty businesses. No regrets at all.
Well, you mentioned a minute ago here about, hey, test your bookkeeper and your accountant. And if they often say, here are your reports, see you next month, what is it that you do differently at True Profits? Are you meeting weekly? How does that work with you?
Mhm. Yes, so we do have different service levels for our clients depending on their needs and what they're looking to invest at that point. Most of our clients are meeting with twice per month. And what we're doing in those meetings, full hour each meeting, it's really a strategy session. So in one of the meetings of each month, part of it will be looking at reports, but it's often only a piece of it. We're going to capture the things that are valuable there, the trends that are there. Part of what we really believe in is education and empowerment. So we're teaching salon owners how to read those reports. And so as we do that, we don't need to spend as much time on the reports themselves, minus the discussions around like what's happening in the salon behind the numbers. What are the changes we can make in the salon that are going to move things the way that we want? But a lot of the time is really focused on the goals. So what does that salon owner want to accomplish? Do they want to get out from behind the chair? Do they want to have multiple locations? Do they want to build a team of six-figure stylists? Whatever their goal is, how they get there is going to be a little bit different. And the things they want to do are going to be a little bit different. So then we can tailor everything that we do towards that goal. We can be much more effective by really understanding, their dream. What's their desired outcome? And we also have built a collection of tools and exercises that we call the Salon CFO dashboard.
Hmm.
And so this has everything from expense analysis and benchmarking and really getting into your services and your profitability by employee and a whole bunch of stuff in there. So that's a big part of what we do as well, the value that we're able to bring.
Ooh, I like that data.
Yeah, a lot of data. Absolutely.
Because I think one of the struggles that many owners have, especially now, is when I started in the industry behind the chair. This is my beginning. I didn't start in tech. I came to tech through being a hairstylist. It's so interesting. But when I
Sure.
was first on the floor, I was commissioned straight away. My first paycheck for 2 weeks of work was $186. That's painful, right?
Absolutely.
Now there'd be no way. Like you have, as an owner, you have to pay hourly. I don't know what we were doing back then that it was like
Was
allowed
it
to
legal? Who
happen. I
knows?
know it's
Right.
like, but yeah. And so I think one of the struggles owners have is I want to onboard like 3 new people.
Mhm.
That's a mission of mine, but they all cost me hourly for such a long period
Right.
of time. They're not producing. How do you, I guess, help them see how they can make it possible?
Yeah. A big part of it is by planning for it. So to use that example of wanting to hire someone, there are things that we can do. And I actually love using the profit first system, even in this case.
Yeah.
You create a bank account that you call new hires, and you can start to look at what you'd be paying these people. And knowing that there's an investment period, that they're not going to make you money right away, you can think, okay, are they going to be about 5% of my revenue? Can I set aside 2% of my revenue, and I'm still okay. Okay, I made it that month. I'm like doing pretty good with my expenses. Can I do 4%? I can do it 5%. Okay, I know I can do it because I now I've tested my business and I don't even have them in the space yet. Plus, I set aside all that money so I can use that if I like need to support them longer or if I do fall short because of this period of investment that I have with my team. So we can do things like that where we're planning and kind of preparing ourselves for bringing these folks on. And that is such a great example because if we can make that happen, we're going to be better off. We're going to be more successful as a salon because now we've hopefully brought in people that we believe in, that are seeing that trust that we put in them, and then they're going to reward that by being great employees.
Well, what I love already is the word planning because most owners, and I'm not dogging on anybody because I technically am one still, is we're
Sure.
emotional. So like
Oh,
immediately
true.
impulsively,
I
I'm
am too.
emotional. I want to say yes to this thing, like whatever. It's spending this much on this class, this experience, this new hire, da da da. And I already love that you help plan for, hey, if you have a dream that crosses your plate, you might want to say yes to. Don't worry, you'll have this fund to support that. So
Mhm.
I'm curious, Ross, is there anything related to the financial management of the salon business that you don't offer?
Not really. So, I mean, for a long time, even in our CFO work, we've always said that the finances touch just about everything in like in the business side. Everything is related to numbers. And so we support and help our clients with everything. And while, to give an example, like we are not marketing experts, so we're not going to create your social media campaign. There are amazing folks that can do that for you. But we'll absolutely help you track the results of your marketing. We're going to help you like make sure that it's successful for you, that those dollars are getting you the return that you like want and deserve, and so that you are again as profitable as you can be. And I'm really happy to say one of our gaps on the financial side in the past was tax services. We'd always worked with partners, third parties referring out. We always struggled and never really could find a CPA or a tax professional that brought the same level of client care that we do with our CFO and bookkeeping services. And it just never felt like their communication was quite what we wanted. And so finally, we were just okay, we're done with that. We're just going to bring it in-house. We want to bring a new experience to taxes because it is really hard, and that is an area in accounting and finance that's particularly bad, like has a particularly bad reputation for communication
Mm.
or the feeling cared for, if I can say it that way. And so we're working really hard to implement that. And I'm so excited with Victoria is the name of our, she's an enrolled agent. She's incredible. She's already working with clients, doing great stuff, and the communication is phenomenal. So we're really proud to be able to do that as well.
Yeah, well, congrats on that. It's huge. Um,
Absolutely.
there are a lot of owners listening that are kind of entering into a next season of their life in regard to wanting to pass the torch, whether that be to a GM or possibly put their salon on the market. Do you help with valuations and succession planning?
Great question. We don't typically do that, but we do help a lot with getting ready for that transition. And if you're looking for the valuations themselves, we do have some good partners. Like we definitely know folks in this space. And but then in terms of like preparing and being profitable and knowing how to have your salon run that's attractive to buyers, even if it's a team member, that is absolutely something that we help people with.
Yeah. Well, just on a personal note, you've used words like beloved and blessed, and you have this lion behind you. I'm wondering if there's something to that.
I think lions are noble and majestic creatures. And yeah, I think life is wonderful. We are given so many opportunities, so we should make the best of it.
Yeah,
Grab it by its horn, so to speak.
That's amazing. Well, I think you're a very positive person and just easy and relatable to work with. So I appreciate that this is a lane that you've decided to take your company, and what a gift it's been to the owners that you work with. We're at that time where you get to share, what is this special offer that you have prepared for everybody listening today?
Awesome. Yeah, so it is that financial clarity assessment that I mentioned before. And this is a really a deep dive into the salon's numbers and your profitability as well. So really when we do this, and I do some of these, and my CFO lead does a lot of these as well. So we get deep and we know what we're looking at. So we've looked at hundreds, if not thousands, of salons' books. So we look for one, the state of the books themselves, like how organized is it? How's it like? There's three things: the accuracy, the timeliness, and how easy to understand. So we're really looking at that. The second thing we're looking at is the profitability. Again, like I mentioned before, what's going well for you, what's not? What are your big opportunities for finding more cash in your business and making it more profitable? So normally this assessment is something that we charge $500 for. For your community today, we wanted to give a special offer, half off. So with the link that I'm sure will be shared in the notes, but I also try to make it really simple, trueprofitsalons.com/Maya.
Well, we absolutely have that link in our show notes for everybody listening today, along with your website and social media, because we want everybody listening to take you up on this. I think that if you could spend $250 to see that you could save $200,000 this year, $25,000 this year, or $2,000, the ROI is absolutely worth it. And Ross, I just appreciate you being here. Before we're completely done, I would love for you to share any final words of wisdom with owners listening today.
The wisdom that always comes to mind for me is that most of business success is not these giant leaps or these Herculean efforts. It's finding those simple things that serve us that we apply day after day after day after day and building those positive habits. So I think this is true in your finances. So as you learn to start looking at your numbers, maybe it's look at your numbers weekly. Maybe it's to, reach out and talk to your bookkeeper accountant once per month. Like these small steps, and you can build on them and you can add on them. It's true in finances, it's true in your marketing, it's true in your team development. And so I'd say always keep learning, always keep doing them just a little bit more, and know that those small steps really add up to something amazing.
If I may throw one more question at you, because now I'm curious, I just can't help myself. You mentioned at the very beginning that you grew up reading books when maybe other kids were playing Mario Kart or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
right.
But
I
you
did that
love
too.
business books and in the financial world, especially. But like, what would be maybe your most profound or life changing book uh, that would help salon owners that you're like, all day long, this book was everything for my business, for my
Mm,
financial? It could be one or the other, it can be both.
yeah. I love that. Yeah, to keep it on the business side, um, one that comes to mind when you ask that question is a book called Essentialism by
Hmm.
an author named Greg McEwen. Essentialism, I believe the subtitle is Less is More. I've read it several times. But really, it's on this idea that it's the disciplined pursuit of less. That's his subtitle. Essentialism, the disciplined pursuit of less. So he talks a lot about this idea that as we do fewer of the things that have uh, less mean, like there's too many things that don't mean a lot. That we focus more on the things that the few things, more on the few, there's a lot. Okay, let me rephrase that. As we focus more on the few things that have the biggest impact, our life becomes a lot more profound. So eliminating all the things that are trivial and that don't matter, focusing more on the few things that do, we build a life that is so much more rewarding.
Hey, you said it beautifully. You summarized it right
Right.
there
Thank you.
so perfectly. So thank you. I really appreciate you being here and giving back to this community the way you are. Thank you so much for joining me, Ross.
It's been such a joy. Thank you, Katie.
And thank you all for joining us here week after week. If you appreciate this platform, we would love it if you could take a moment to leave us a positive review wherever you're listening so that more people like yourself will discover Beyond the Technique, where we're here to change the way that you are supported in your business. Until next time, everybody, have an awesome day and stay strong.